It's good to see you all out this morning. I think we got down to Genesis chapter 32 last week. So we're fixing to start seeing Jacob finally head back home. But he still hadn't quite learned his lesson yet. He's still getting there. One step at a time. A lot of times like we are, we get feedback, and then we sort of just say, okay, I'm going to do this, and then that's not quite all the way. And so we're seeing that nature of man in Jacob for sure. So hope everybody had a good week this week. Did you get some notes? Give her some notes. Genesis chapter 32, we have in chapter 31, basically God told Jacob to head back to Bethel, and so he picks up and goes through and gets all of his stuff, and Laban, and of course got all the way away from Laban, and then Laban caught up with him and started to basically overtake him and probably do some damage, but God said, no, don't you mess with him. And so he met up with him, had peace with him, and then they both departed each other and went their different ways. So here in chapter 32, we have Jacob sitting down on his way back from that location that he met with Laban. And he said, and Jacob went on his way, and the angels of God met him. Notice it says angels, not angel, okay? And when Jacob saw them, he said, this is God's host. And he called the name of the place Mahanaim. And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau his brother, unto the land of Seir, the country of Edom. And he commanded them, saying, thus shall you speak unto my lord Esau. Since when does he think Esau is his lord? Okay? Think about that a second. And so what he's fixing to do, he's fixing to try to suck up to him and try to make sure that he ain't going to hurt him. So that's what he's doing. It says, thy servant Jacob saith thus, I have sojourned with Laban and stayed there until now. And I have oxen and asses, flocks, and men servants and women servants, and I have sent to tell my Lord that I may find grace in thy sight. And the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, we came to thy brother Esau, and also he cometh to meet thee, and 400 men with him. Can you imagine him shaking in his boots right now? Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that was with him, and the flocks and the herds and the camels, into two bands, and said, if Esau come to the one company and smite it, then the other company which is left shall escape. So the Mahanaim means double camp. In other words, he split his people in two different places. Says, well, if it comes and hits those, then we'll take off. And hopefully I'm in the one that gets to take off. And if you look a little bit later, he was always putting other people first, and he was at the back. So he wanted to save his hide no matter what. And the thing about it is, calling him Lord, he knows that from Rebekah that basically Esau was supposed to call him Lord, and vice versa. So here he's gone for 20 years, and he tells them to tell Esau, well, I've just been sojourning over here. No, I've been running from you. I was running afraid from you. And I got me 2 wives, and I got me, it's 12 kids, 1 daughter, and 11 boys so far. But God's blessed me, and I'm coming here, and I just want to make sure you're okay with me. And And then he gets the news back saying he's got 400 men coming after him. I'd say I'd probably be shaking my boots too. Then we get down to verse 9, and Jacob said, "O God of my father Abraham." Now, God's already told him to go back. Okay? He's already told him to go back, and he would be blessing him with kids upon kids upon kids, and and all this stuff. But he don't believe him. All right? So you don't have enough faith to believe him. And it's still not there yet. So let's take a look and see. Jacob said, "O God, my father Abraham, God of my father Isaac, the Lord which saidest unto me, return into thy country and to thy kindred, I will deal with thee there." He didn't say how he would deal with it. That's what he's saying here. "I am not worthy of the least of all the mercies of all the truth which thou hast showed unto thy servant. For with my staff I passed over this Jordan, and now I am become two bands. Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he will come and smite me and the mother with the children. And thou saidest, I will surely do thee good, and make thy seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude." Here he's talking to God and saying, you said you'd make good, but I don't trust Esau. So he didn't trust God to take care of it. I mean, that's the bottom line. And he still haven't caught on to the fact that God's going to bless him. He still has not yet let that sink in. And he's still trying to do his subversion and everything else with his brother, and everything he does, he's still in this mindset of, I got to do it. I myself have to do it. And God's trying to take him through some lessons to learn. Notice in verse 13, "And he lodged there that same night, and took of that which came to his hand a present for Esau his brother." And so he basically is setting aside a nice present to give to his brother. It says 200 she-goats and 20 he-goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30 milch camels with their colts, 40 kine, and 10 bulls, 20 she-asses, 10 foals. And he delivered them into the hand of his servants, every drove by themselves, and said unto his servants, "Pass over before me. You guys take the brunt." All right, I'm going to get all these things to give you, but notice what happens. "Pass over before me and put a space betwixt drove and drove." So what he's thinking is, all right, I'm going to get you, and there's actually 5 droves when we keep reading. All right, first band, you have your stuff, and offer it to Esau. If he kills them, the next drove. If he kills them, maybe he's getting a little bit softened by the time he gets to the third one. By the time he gets to the fourth one and the fifth one, hopefully he's appeased enough to where he's not going to kill me. That's exactly what's going on here, okay? You put some space in between each one. "Then thou shalt say, they be thy servant Jacob's. It is a present sent unto my lord Esau, and behold, also he is behind us." And so commanded he the second and the third and all that followed the drove, saying, "On this manner shall you speak unto Esau when you find him, and say ye moreover, behold, thy servant Jacob is behind us. For he said, I will appease him with the present that goeth before me, and afterward I will see his face, peradventure he will accept of me." So he's hoping. "And he rose up that night and took his 2 wives and his 2 women servants and his 11 sons," notice don't mention Dinah, "and passed over the ford Jabbok. And he took them and sent them over the brook, and sent over that he had." So here he's basically told his servants to go out and do this, and then he takes his wife and children and basically drops back and says, hopefully I'll be all right by the time they get to me. And so unfortunately, that's where he's at. And then what happens is that Jacob gets left alone in his tent. All right? And it says, and Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. When he saw that he had prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. Because he knew something was up. And he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob. It's not Esau this time, like he said to his dad. He had to admit it to Jacob. All right? And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and hast prevailed. And Jacob asked him and said, tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, wherefore is it that thou dost ask me my name? And he blessed him there. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. And he passed over Peniel, the sun rose up again, and he halted upon his thigh. Therefore the children of Israel eat not of the sinew which shrank, which is upon the hollow of the thigh unto this day, because he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh in the sinew that shrank. So we have here Jacob wrestling with the Lord here, okay, all night long. And when you sit down and think about it, I sort of put together a little bit of, can you imagine that night? And so if you'll follow along here, I sort of just put some things back and forth with the angel talking and Jacob talking back and everything else. And think about, from that perspective, about what you're fixing to hear. Jacob, he basically is there on his knees praying, hey, God, get me through Esau. Get me past this. They're begging up in storm. All of a sudden, he sees the angel over there, and he says, oh, God, you've got to help me. You've got to help me. Angel comes back and says, what makes you think I'm God? Jacob, you're the one at the top of the ladder. And over at Bethel, I'd know you anywhere. You've got to help me. Angel, oh, really? Jacob comes back and says, yes, Esau's coming. He's got 400 men with him. They got tanks and artillery. I don't have anything but small arms. Angel, well, think your way out of it, or lie your way out of it, whichever way you want to put it. Jacob said, what? Angel comes back and says, I said, think your way out of it. Jacob, but Lord, this is no time for joking. The children, my wives, oh God, do something quick. Angel comes back, well, all right now, how about a little fireworks? Would you like to see some shooting stars? It's a beautiful night for meteorites. Jacob says, now Lord, it's no time for joking or levity, whatever. Esau's coming. Do you hear me? Esau's coming, and he's got me outnumbered. We'll all be killed. Well, you can't live forever. Got to go sometime. Jacob, oh, help me. And Angel says, well, you made your bed, Jacob. You got to lie in it. Can you imagine? Because this is going on all night long. This is not something that's just 5 minutes. It's all night long. So it's taking a lot of time. You don't see that conversation, but I'm just trying to play it up a little bit. The angel says, you made your bed, use your head. You've always been able to talk your way out before. and Jacob says, please help. And finally, the angel tells Jacob to let go of his leg. And Jacob starts crying and begging even harder, thinking it's all been in vain. And Jacob says, not till you bless me, not till you answer my prayer. And the angel comes back with a firm voice. I said, let go, the sun is rising. I've listened to you all night long, and I'm leaving. Angel bends over and touches Jacob's thigh, and then Jacob wrenches in pain and loses his grip on the angel of the Lord, and he says, what's your name? The haunting comes back to Jacob about when Isaac asked him what his name was with Esau. Okay? And that's when he has to actually say, my name is Jacob. not Esau. Because he's here worried about Esau. And now he's begging to have help from him. But this basically makes him realize, hey, this is my own doing. Okay? And of course, he begs God to give him his name. And of course, he does. He says, why do you ask? Then he blesses him and says, oh, by the way, Esau wasn't going to do you harm anyway, but you needed to sweat it out. Jacob names the place Peniel after meaning the face of God, and basically had a limp the rest of his life. I mean, basically, the sinew's like a tendon. And the thing about it is that how many of you like those tendons when you bite into a chicken leg? Well, that's the reason why they don't eat any of that anymore either. It's not something that you want to partake of when you're eating. So, but you could see Jacob had basically a good time from the standpoint of waking up to himself. He still hadn't quite got all the way there yet, because we're fixing to find that out shortly. All right? But so we're fixing to get into that in chapter, the next chapter, matter of fact, chapter 34. But it says, and Jacob lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau came, and with him 400 men, and he divided the children unto Leah and to Rachel. He still didn't get the answer. And unto Rachel and to the two handmaids, and he put the handmaids and their children out front. You guys get killed first. All right? Do what? Yep. Put them out first. And then he put Leah and her children, because he loved Rachel, put Leah and her children out next. And that was the majority of them, because Rachel only had one. All right? So, and after that, Rachel and Joseph hindermost. And I'm sure he was back behind them. And he passed over before them and bowed himself to the ground 7 times until he came near to his brother. This is almost like, bow. Run a little bit further, bow. Run a little bit further, bow. So until he finally caught up next to his brother and finally bowed the 7th time. And Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. Almost sounds like the prodigal father, right? But Esau was glad to see him. All right. All this time, Jacob was writhing in anguish and worrying and all that stuff, all for nothing. And because Esau had buried his hatred and was glad to see him. And he lifted up his eyes and saw the women and the children and said, who are those with thee? And the thing about it is that when you go back and look at Rachel and comes back to that information, and you think about the song "Living by Faith." I care not today what tomorrow may bring, shadow of sunshine or rain. The Lord I know ruleth over everything. He forgot all that part, but all of my worry is vain. So he wasn't living by faith at all. So he found that out really quickly. But who are those with thee? And he said, the children with God hath graciously given thy servant. And the handmaids came near, they and their children, and they bowed themselves. And Leah also with her children came near and bowed themselves. And after came Joseph near and Rachel, and they bowed themselves. And he said, what meanest thou by all this drove? What in the world were you doing? With bringing all those in 5 different passages. What got in your mind? He said, these are to find grace in thy sight of my Lord. And Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Keep that which thou hast unto thyself. In other words, I don't need this stuff. And Jacob said, Nay, I pray thee, if now I have found grace in thy sight, then receive my present at my hand. For therefore I have seen thy face, as though I had seen the face of God, and thou wast pleased with me. Still got that silver tongue, don't he? He's still got a silver tongue. Take, I pray thee, my blessing that is brought to thee, because God hath dealt graciously with me, and because I have enough. And he urged him and took it. So Esau went ahead and took it. And he said, Let us take our journey and let us go, and I will go before thee. Notice what happens here. And he said unto him, My Lord knoweth that the children are tender, and the flocks and herds with young are with me. And if men should overdrive them one day, all the flock will die. I can't go as fast as you 400 men. I mean, you guys will take off, and I just can't keep up with you, and we'll kill everything. Notice what happens. Let my Lord, I pray thee, pass over before his servant, and I will lead on softly, according as the cattle that goeth before me, and the children be able to endure until I come unto my Lord, unto Seir. He's saying he's going to where Esau's at, right? He's lying through his teeth once again. All right? And Esau says, well, okay, all right, I understand. Let me leave some of my men with you so that they can help you go. That's what he says in the next verse. And Esau said, let me now leave with thee some of the folks that are with me. And he said, what needeth it? Let me find grace in the sight of my Lord. And then Jacob says, I really don't need that. Just. And really what it is, he's not going. He's going somewhere else. And if he knows that he lets him be with him, he's going to have to go where he's going. So he's still lying through his teeth. But that's Jacob. And so we get down to the next part of it. It says, So Esau returned that day on his way into Seir, and Jacob journeyed to Succoth. He didn't go that same way. And built him an house and made booths for his cattle. Therefore the name of the place is called Succoth. So Jacob decided to settle down. All right? Jacob came to Shalem, the city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, when he came from Padanaram and pitched his tent before the city. He hadn't gone back to Bethel like the Lord told him. He's still got some lessons to learn, don't he? And he bought a parcel of field, so he's buying land and settling down, where he had spread his tent at the hand of the children of Hamor. Notice the children of Hamor is like a king of the country, where Shechem is a city within the country. Okay? And Shechem's father, Shechem, is the leader of that city. All right? 400 pieces of money, and he erected there an altar and called it Eloah Israel. And so the thing about it is that he leaves and goes a different way, buys up some land, and calls it God, the God of Israel. Only one problem, he's supposed to be in Bethel. Okay? So you see there in Genesis 31:13, I am the God of Bethel, where thou anointest the pillar, and where thou vowest a vow to me. Now arise, get thee out of this land, and return to the land of thy kindred. That's where he told him to go. Okay? 35:1 is even more specific. It says, and God said unto Jacob, arise, go to Bethel, and dwell there, and make an altar unto God that appeared unto thee, and thou fleddest from the face of Esau thy brother. So he said, go back to where you saw me going up and down the ladder. All right? So he's fixing to get to him again. Chapter 34 is the next trial in Jacob's life, and it's going to be a good one. And it says, and Dinah, which is his daughter of Leah, which she bare unto Jacob, went out. And see, he's in a place he ain't supposed to be. That's what happens when we get in places we ain't supposed to be. All right? We get pulled off and get distracted and get part of them rather than where we're supposed to be of ourselves. And that's exactly where Jacob's at. And Dinah, God never wanted Israel and Jacob and Abraham and Isaac to partake of the people of Canaan. He never wanted that. That's the reason why he kept telling them to go back. He didn't want them to take wives of that area. So see what happens. So Dinah, the daughter of Leah, she bare to Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land. So she's going out and partying. All right? And when Shechem, who is the son of the ruler of the king of the country and over this city, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, prince of the country, so he's a prince, saw her, he took her and lay with her and defiled her. So he raped her. And basically, she's probably not even 18 years old yet. Okay, on top of that. So, and his soul clave unto Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, and he loved the damsel and spake kindly unto the damsel. So he still got her with him. All right? And then Shechem spake unto his father Hamor, saying, get me this damsel to wife. I want this girl. Even though I raped her, she's got a pull on me. All right? And Jacob heard that he had defiled Dinah, his daughter. Now his sons were in this field with the cattle, were with his cattle in the field, and Jacob held his peace until they were come. So, get the picture here is that Shechem has basically raped his daughter. He's went to his dad and said, I want her. It's my wife. Do what you can to get me my wife. So, Jacob hears about it, and what's fixing to happen is that Hamor and Shechem is fixing to come before Jacob before his kids get back. Okay? So Jacob's sort of quiet about it. Okay? He's a little bit uneasy because the king's with him. So, see what happens. And Hamor, the father of Shechem, went out unto Jacob to commune with him. Oh, this sounds nice. And the sons of Jacob came out of the field when they heard it, and the men were grieved, and they were very wroth. Okay? Because he had wrought folly in Israel, committed wickedness in Israel is what that means. Okay? Notice that's the first statement that you hear about in Israel as a place. Okay? Jacob had just changed his name to Israel, and now it's in Israel, not just there. Okay? In lying with Jacob's daughter, which thing ought not to be done. So, very tense meeting, if you want to say one way or the other. And it's out in the open now. It's not something that's still quiet. It's out in the open. The sons are there, Jacob's there, Hamor's there, Shechem's there, and Jacob and Hamor communed with them, saying, the soul of my son Shechem longeth for your daughter. I pray you give her him to wife. And make ye marriages with us, and give your daughters unto us, and take our daughters unto you. Let's all just be a good, happy family. Okay? That's exactly what happens when we get out of where we need to be. All right? And then and it says, and ye shall dwell with us, and the land shall be before you. Dwell and trade ye therein, and get you possessions therein. And Shechem said unto her father and unto brother, let me find grace in your eyes, and what ye shall say unto me I will give. So he's now begging. He knows that he's not in a good shape. I'll give you whatever you want. Believe you me, I'll just do whatever you want. And ask me never so much dowry and gift, and I will give according as ye shall say unto me, but give me the damsel to wife. So, brothers are not too happy. So they come up with a plan to get vengeance. Notice what it says. And the sons of Jacob answered Shechem and Hamor, his father, deceitfully. Okay, let's see what we got to do here. We can't get with you because we're different. But notice what he says. And it says that, and said because he had defiled Dinah their sister. And they said unto them, we cannot do this thing to give our sister to one that is uncircumcised. For that were a reproach unto us. We can't mix with you unless you get circumcised. But in this will we consent to you, if you will be as we, be that every male of you be circumcised, then will we give our daughters unto you, and we will take your daughters to us, and we will dwell with you, and we will become one people. But if you will not hearken unto us to be circumcised, then will we take our daughter, and we will be gone. Nah, that's not their mindset. But it says, but they, he begs for, Dinah must have had a good pull on him anyway, because he's either that or he's so afraid of what might happen if he don't. One of the two. We can't really read into it any more than what it says there. But anyway, verse 18, notice what happens. And the words pleased Hamor and Shechem, Hamor's son, and the young man deferred not to do the thing. Man, he must have been swept off his feet. Because he had delight in Jacob's daughter, and he was more honorable than all the house of his father. In other words, he was willing to do it. And Hamor and Shechem, his son, came to the gate of their city and communed with the men of their city, saying, all right, guys, I really want this woman, but this is the only way it's going to happen. And so they played it up real well. Watch what they do. These men are peaceable with us. Therefore, let them dwell in the land and trade therein. For the land, behold, it is large enough for them. Let us take their daughters to us for wives, and let us give them our daughters. Only thing is, herein will the men consent unto us for to dwell with us to be one people, if every male among us be circumcised as they are circumcised. Shall not their cattle and their substance and every beast of theirs be ours? Here's money coming into play. Only let us consent unto them, and they will dwell with us. And unto Hamor and unto Shechem his son hearkened all that went out of the gate of his city, and every male was circumcised, all that went out of the gate to the city. So they convinced them. Say what? No. So they convinced them to do that, and to their own detriment. And so here's what's fixing to happen. Verse 25, and it came to pass on the third day. Can you imagine what all those men were going through at this point? They were in pain, okay? They were not doing too well at all. So the two brothers of Dinah came out, and they were sore, and two of the sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brethren, took each man his sword and came upon the city boldly and slew all the males. It only took two to kill all of them, okay? Because they probably went door to door, probably in the night, and every one of them was sore and didn't have nothing they could do, and they just did them all one night. And they slew Hamor and Shechem, his son, with the edge of the sword. So they killed the king and his son. All right? And took Dinah out of Shechem's house. See, Shechem still had Dinah. She wasn't back home yet. And he went out. The sons of Jacob came upon the slain So the rest of the boys came in and basically spoiled the city because they had defiled their sister, and took their sheep, their oxen, their asses, that which was in the city and that which was in the field, and all their wealth and all their little ones and their wives, took them captive and spoiled even all that was in the house. They just basically took everything they had in that city. Okay? But, and all their wealth and all their little ones, notice what happens in verse 30 though. This is what Jacob says to himself. Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, "You have troubled me to make me a stink among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites. I just got settled down. Now you're going to basically make it to where everybody's going to be against me. And I being few in number, they shall gather themselves together against me and slay me, and I shall be destroyed, and I and my house." And they said, "Should he deal with our sister as an harlot?" Jacob, of course, don't say anything back on that part. But basically what you'll find here is Jacob still has not learned his lesson, where he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be in Bethel, okay? So God's having to do all this to get him back to where he wants him. I pray that we don't do that. We don't need to go through all the stuff that God can put on us to actually get us where we need to be. You don't have to have chastisement. It's not required. It's purely to basically get you to go where you need to be. But if you're, and I always said this, turn over to Romans chapter 12. I always have, and this was something that God showed me a long time ago. At least he showed it to me this way. I don't know if anybody else has ever felt this, but basically he said it to me. Romans chapter 12, "I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may be proved what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God." And I don't know how many people in my mind have said, "I want to be in that perfect will, but I don't know what it is." It's simple. Turn all of your will over to him. Then you're in his will, perfect will, every time. But as long as you keep some of that will yourself, you're not going to be in his perfect will. So to me, it's just basically surrender all. I surrender all. And that's the key in my mind of what it is. So anybody got anything else they want to say before? Yeah. And all of them died out. All the older ones died out, except for those two that went and said had a good report. Yep. Anyone else? Brother Clay, would you dismiss us in a word of prayer?